Okay, so we are not in a typical makeup tutorial setup today. Between being almost 9 months pregnant and generally just uncomfortable, I didn't think we'd be able to fit a camera and all this stuff into a bathroom with some good mirrors, some good front lighting, so we're a little makeshift MacGyvery at the moment, but I think it'll be okay. I want to do the eye brightening and the makeup quad tutorial that I kind of teased about on Facebook earlier this week. First off, this is especially good for if you have darker skin around your eyes, whether it's from lack of sleep or you've got sinuses like I do. Let's be honest, it's a combination of both for me at this point. An easy way to get that skin tone evened out is with our concealer used not only just underneath the eye for the concealing purposes, but on the eye itself as a primer. And the great thing about the waterproof concealers is that they are so pigmented that a little really does go a long way. You don't want to use too much because then you'll undo the point of a primer, which is to keep things sticky and staying put. Use too much, then it'll start getting worked up into that crease, and that's not what we want. So I'm using, this is my personal one, so mine is 0 because I glow in the dark, and I'm just barely tapping my finger into it. Right now, the only thing I have on is the moisturizer. That's all I've got on my face right now, and goodness gracious, did my skin need a drink. So that immediately you can see this eye is smoother, the skin tone is even, this one's still blotchy, it's got those little purple veins right along the lash line, up through there, just not sleeping. And then I bring it down underneath. Again, I'm just patting into my concealer directly, and fingers are my favorite brush to use for concealer, honestly. We do have a brush for concealers if brushes are a thing for that, but I personally always just use my fingers. You're gonna get in there and get the product nice and warm where it needs to go anyway. So you can see there is not much on there at all. I don't want it to be a thick layer of product either above my eye or below it, because again, the skin underneath our eyes is super thin, and we don't want it getting crepey or getting creased up as our face moves. So then I've got my little quad here that we talked about, and I showed on Facebook the different colors. So my favorite way to do this is to work from dark to light. I like to know what I'm headed towards as opposed to what I need to come back from. So I'm going to take the, where'd you go? There it is. Our fluffy brush. And I'm going back and forth between these two. I want a little bit of the pink in with my brown. It just makes it a nice rosy, dusty crease color. And the reason I use the fluffy brush is because I want it to go into the crease of my eye. I'm kind of windshield wipering it back and forth. I want it to do its job. It's going to smush in there the way that it's supposed to and really make the product go where it needs to be. So I'm also bringing it just a little bit onto the outer 1/3 of my eye. I like to shade. Goes back to my art classes. You shade from dark to light around and create a 3-dimensional object. This is good if you're wanting to make your eyes look bigger. Go the other side. Back and forth. Now this eye is a little shaped differently, so I have to come up a little higher on the brow bone. And that's perfectly normal if you have eyes that are different shapes, so don't get frustrated if for some reason it looks different on one eye than the other. Your eyes just probably have a slightly different shape. That's allowed. So the next thing I'm going to go to is this light pink color. And that I'm going to take all over my eyelid. And I'm working it into the color that I just put down. So here's that other way to really help lighten up those eyes, as I'm making sure I'm getting it into the crease. I've laid down my concealer so that way it's got everything the good base to start from. Everything's the same color. Now I'm hitting it with a highlight. So it's a nice light color. And especially if you've got deeper set or eyes that are a little closer together. Mine are a little close. So I really want to make sure that I punch that highlight because it helps pull them apart and look big, nice, pretty-eyed. Using the same color, I'm just switching to a bigger brush because I got a lot of real estate up here. I'm going to take that same light pink right under my brows. And I'm kind of catching the top of the rosy brown color that we put in there because I want it to blend. I don't want there to be a hard line there. I want it to be nice and pretty and soft. Gradient, if you will. So nothing's terribly hard. So I've thrown down my basic contouring, basic color scheme. And now I'm gonna go take our little angled eyeliner brush that I love so much. And I'm gonna dip into my darker brown, my little chocolate down here. And I'm gonna go right at the lash line. Basically packing it into where my eyelashes are. And I've actually got a little underly, so quick fix up. There, like it never happened. Okay. Now I'm only doing the top right now because I have a little trick that I prefer to use when it comes to the bottom lash line. I would much rather, instead of it being the exact same color that I put, this nice dark brown, I like to take the lighter brown. So I'm gonna go back with that same one. We're still working the same quad. And instead of doing the dark one underneath, I take the lighter brown, look up, and I just smudge it about halfway across. So it's still giving a shadow there so we can see where our eyes end, but it's not cutting my eye in half. I have a tendency, if I try to do dark on top and dark on bottom, then I lose half my eye and it looks like I'm squinting all day long. That's not what we want. We want it to open the eye up. So I only go about halfway and it's nice and soft underneath there. It's almost just a shadow. It's not a line. Then I'm going to go with the same colors that I mixed for the crease. I'm going to add that pink into it. Okay. And go until I get to about where the little tear duct starts, the little teardrop shape in the eye. Now you gotta be careful using that darker pink. You don't want to take it too far because pink, that color of pink around our eyes starts making them look like they're red, like you've been crying or you've been rubbing them. So easy with that, but I do like to get the same color that I used in the crease on the bottom at least somewhere, just so it all kind of flows together. And then I'm gonna go with my light pink, that top right. And I'm going to take it the rest of the way in. And this is another great way to keep that inner corner nice and highlighted with a strong light color. So that's that. I'm going to throw on some eyebrows and some mascara later, but that is the basic placement for that quad look. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And in the next one, we'll move on to the rest of the face.